guest Jay Money, who's my little brother. So
Hey
we'll just
guys.
call him Money. And this is Overplay. Today, we're going to be talking about time traveling. We're going to talk about, is it possible? We're going to talk about what type of time travel there is. Would you go back? So if you're on right now, and I'll kind of just throw this up there anyway. You know what? Let me type a message real quick. Let me just, would you go back in time? If so, when? Anyway, I'll just throw that bitch up right there. Oh, okay, whatever. It's supposed to be a question mark. Who gives a fuck? Anywho, so the reason why you, J Money, got me into an anime called Tokyo Revengers, the whole premise of that is that he, for some reason, can go back in time 12 years to the day, and he changes something that happens in his current time where his, spoiler alert, his girlfriend dies. I mean, that's really like, that's episode
That's
one,
episode one.
right?
Yeah.
Girlfriend dies, so he's going to try to go back in time to save her. He finds out that he can, so now that's what his like goal is. But you recently told me about a different anime that you said is like the anime of all anime as far as time travel is concerned, right?
Correct.
So what's that one about?
So that one's called Steins Gate. Steins Gate is one of the most popular animes of all time. This is about a doctor, mad scientist, as he likes to call himself. And basically, to keep it short, he goes back in time, or he's trying to create something called the Steins Gate, which is to go back in time. And essentially, he realizes that he is actually going back in time itself through a microwave, which sounds ridiculous, I know, but
It's anime. That's on par for the course.
right. And so basically, the farther back he goes, the more he realizes he's not able to stay in actually one universe. And so basically, to get into the universe where he wants to be, where everything goes right, is technically the Steins Gate.
Got it. So is it kind of like he goes into different multiverses?
Yes, but they're so subtle, and you don't realize. I guess it's kind of a spoiler. You don't really realize that until the end. But
Oh, okay. Because yeah, that's
definitely good.
it depends on how you see time travel. This is kind of what we're talking. I'll kind of go off right now of like what time travel is it possible, and stuff like that. So obviously, Albert Einstein believes that it is plausible for us to go back in time and to go forward in time. However, obviously, with a lot of caveats within that, right? So you have a bunch of different theories on can we go back in time, all this stuff. He believes that we can go back in time, that time is linear, and you can go back in time as like physics says that you can for some, I don't know, I'm not smart enough to finish this, okay? But you can go back in time, but you can't change the past. Now, one of two things is either you could go back to where you were, but you couldn't change anything, that everything is a circular motion, so everything you would have done literally the exact same thing no matter what. Or there's like the grandfather effect where even if you went back, talked to your grandfather, and it convinced him not to sleep with your grandma by some weird thing, he would eventually sleep with your grandma no matter what. Kind of like this linear thing. So you have that, you know, you can go back in time to see certain things. Obviously, we can't do it because we don't have like enough energy to do it. Because to go back in time, you would need to go. I know, like to go forward in time, you would need to go 99.99% of the speed of light. So you essentially have to go to the speed of light to move forward in time. But I don't really know the science behind moving back in time because there's a lot of caveats to that. In Tokyo Revengers, he does it not with like, you know, microwave. He does it by like some sort of magic. They actually don't even really explain it on how he goes back. He just has something that allows him to go back in time.
Yeah, which is triggered by a handshake for those who are watching.
Yeah. But the first time he goes back, it's by, I guess he gets, he touches him, right? He touches, anyway, the first time he goes back, it's this kind of weird thing, and he wakes up and he's in the past. So they believe, like I said, in the past, that's different. And then we'll talk about like going forward in the future. Again, if you go into the speed of light, you would move at 500 years in the future to 7 years of your own life. So you would be in this ship for 7 years going to the speed of light, and 500 years would pass because of your atomic calculator inside your body. It slows down at the speed of light due to a bunch of other things. They've been able to do this with people up in space, of how much the clock has actually changed comparatively to time actually moving forward. Anywho, again, not really this smart on it. You could fucking Google this stuff because,
Time
again, I'm not a
dilation
scientist.
is what this is called. I said if the people want to actually look this up and research it, it's time dilation. It's actually
Time dilation.
I was just talking about this with a friend.
Oh, okay. So time dilation. So that's what it's kind of based on. Anywho, so that's kind of where we're at. If you could move forward, which is kind of a weird concept in general. Like, would you go forward in time? Dr. Stone is another one where he technically goes future. He goes into the future. And his is like, what, like 10,000 years or something?
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Dr. Stone?
No.
Ah, dude, it's actually pretty good. It makes me realize that if I went into the future or into the past, like far into the past, where like civilization isn't like now, right? Like there's not a lot of futuristic stuff. It would be hard for me to live. I could fish ish. I could probably live off. It would be very hard and it would suck. He obviously creates electricity and he starts creating a bunch of cool stuff and I'm not smart enough to do any of that. Like I said, I can fish. I could probably live on my own for quite a while. But yeah, I'm not smart enough to like create anything. Like even like metal, I'm pretty much doomed. Anywho, so first question: if you could go into the past, and this is for everybody out there too, so answer: if you could go in the past, would you?
Would I go into the past?
Yeah, like your own past. So we'll talk like your own past. Would you go in the past?
Okay, are we talking about me as my current self?
Yes.
Get to see myself, or am I going back as the same person?
You're going back. Yeah, we're gonna go Tokyo Revengers. You go back as the same person
and know everything I know now.
Yes,
100%. Yes.
When would you go back to?
When would I go back to? That's tough because I feel like all of the important in my life would probably start around the age of like 13, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Of making a lot of like good choices. But if I get to feel the same I did as like when I was a kid, you know, like how nostalgia, like
yeah,
6 years old and I just get to wake up, play Tekken all day, not do anything. Like, would I be willing to go through 12 years of school?
But you could graduate early because you already have that much. I mean, you're more than a 6-year-old, right? 13 is when I get into the, be honest, 13 is when I'd get into the like, I'm not that much smarter than I was when I was 13. You know what I mean? Because you're in school, you do algebra all the time. You do all these things all the time. I don't do those anymore. So I'd probably still pick up on it quickly anyway. However, it is one of those things that I think 6 would be awesome because you'd be the smartest 6-year-old ever. You know what I mean?
And you'd probably be able to invent shit a lot easier. Like,
I'm not smart enough for that either.
You know, at 6 years old, I bet you could probably explain Instagram to at least like a functioning adult and become a multi-billionaire. If we want to play the game that way.
Yeah, or you can make like Candy Crush. Remember Candy Crush sold for $1 billion?
Yeah.
So you could, okay, that's a lot. Okay, that would be, because I'm thinking of like iPhones. Like there's no way I'm smart enough to describe an iPhone on how it would work. And the things I would say, they'd be like, yeah, of course, if we could create that, we would. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So Instagram, you probably could. Well, when you were 6, not when I was 6, internet wasn't even really a thing a whole lot, right? You had the AOL discs. Yeah, Instagram would still be kind of hard. Yeah. Like that's how old I am.
Although at 6 years old, you might be able to just explain fiber optic cables with internet ability. No one would ever listen. Here, yeah, okay. In reality, no one's gonna listen to a 6-year-old go, we should use fiber optic cable. Like, who the fuck is gonna listen to that? But yeah, I feel like you'd be able to explain some things. But like I said, realistically, if I was going back, I would say at least 13.
Yeah,
because that's when a lot of the choices get a little
So Boxer Mama says, I would not. I wish I knew more in the past, but a do-over would suck. I don't know. I'm in the middle. I think that there would be crappy parts because one, you'd lose people again. That would suck to, if I was 6, I would have lost my grandpa still. We've lost family members and everything else. I don't think 100% would have been in our control, even if we could go back. And I think knowing that you're going back to see this person die and knowing you couldn't do anything, I think would also be really hard. However,
you've already accepted it. I feel.
Yeah, it would be weird though. But I know that I would change a lot about me. I would probably, I think I would go back to maybe 6 because you're in first grade, or you know what I mean. Like you could take tests to get even higher, and that would be pretty epic. Sports would be a lot easier just because like your body and how to move. You know what I mean? Like it's not so rigid. 13's a good one too, though. Is it I don't know. Would you ever date when you?
Okay, here's the thing, because I actually have a very sound explanation. I hope people in the chat don't take this the wrong way, but I call this the Zoe 101 law. And I call it this because this is the show that made me think of it. And mind you, they're a lot older than me. I'm only 22 years old right now. They're probably all in their 30s. But I think, I would have had sex with them.
Yeah.
But you got to think, I'm in the mind of 8 years old. I wouldn't have sex with their current person now. So when you think of it, it's kind of like the hindsight point. So I can say, I found Dana super hot on Zoe 101, but I don't currently find her hot. But the nostalgia factor kind of sets in.
So I disagree because I think it's their mentality. You'd be older and you would know. I guess you wouldn't have all the options to manipulate, but it'd be easier to manipulate younger people because you're an adult. So, well, in the comments, see if that's creepy. Well, I don't know because I'm in the middle. I don't know what I'd do. So, but be that as it may, because it's also funny when like you meet somebody like 10 years in the future, right? I met a girl recently who was like, "Oh, I would have totally dated you like 10 years ago. Like you should have asked me out," type of thing. And you're like, well, if I'd have known that, so you could go back and be like, "Hey, you already have like inside knowledge, right?" Which would be kind of sweet. 13. Oh, dude, that would be a hard one. Also, could you imagine like mom and dad when you're 13 knowing what you know as far as like you're an adult, and you'd swear around them and you'd be like, "Don't swear." And you'd be like, "Ma, like, come on." You'd have to like somehow prove that it's you so that mom would like, I would still, sorry, I would have an 8:30 bedtime. Do you understand? Where I'm at 13 till I was 16 because I couldn't get up. But now, okay, I'm still not that good at it. I'd still need the bedtime. But you know what? It would piss me off as an adult to be told by my mom that I have an 8:30 bedtime. You know what I mean? So
I don't think that's not worth going back, though.
No, it would be. No, I still would. I'm just saying that these are things that you would have to think about. Is that you're like, mom, for me, you've always been good at like waking yourself up, and you're a normal functioning adult. I am not.
To be. I definitely try.
I'm not. It must be the extra chromosome. I don't know what it is, but I've never been able to.
I have way more chromosomes than you.
Are we arguing this? So anyway, you'd have a lot of these like little problems, I think, that I don't think you'd realize. Uncles and aunts, cousins and stuff like that, when they like talk down to you, it would be hard for me not to like be lippy because I know I could. You know what I mean? I'll be like, "Oh, you grow up to do heroin, so fuck you." You know what I mean? Like,
but this actually is a good point, because one of my big regrets is I didn't get into more fights or like do certain shit like that.
Yeah,
so I probably would have been a lot more. I don't want to say rebellious, but
and that would be a great thing too, because like I've done some martial arts and stuff. So if me going back, the couple fights that I did get into, I would have actually won them. Like I would have actually been a legit, I'd have been a decent fighter if I could go back in, when I was third grade, yeah, even 13. At 13, my parents had me go from a private school to a public school, which is like getting sentenced to prison, right?
People go to
But
public school?
I know, gross. Oh, peasants. I was worried about getting stabbed, killed, raped. I was worried about it all. Okay. Like I remember getting told that and going like, oh my God, this is it. Like I got to harden up because where I grow up, my private school is nothing but like preppy kids. And our public school was like gang members. So I'm like trying to like, oh shit, like I'm gonna have to stab somebody. Like I legit thought of it as prison. I'm like, I'm gonna have to go to the biggest guy. I'm gonna have to clock him to get some goddamn respect in this place. And I didn't.
No pockets.
I hold no pocket. No way I'd hold somebody's pocket. And I don't wrong, I was a pussy, so I didn't hit the biggest guy. What I did was I realized very quickly I had a better education, and I did all the gang members' homework. If all you nerds out there end up going into that situation, if you do a gang member's homework, he won't fuck with you because he'll realize he depends on you to go to the next grade. Anywho, yeah, I think 13 is actually probably a good year. I think 13 is probably the best because I do think being super young would kind of suck. It'd give me a reason to play with toys again. You know what I mean?
Realistically, I mean, 13, you might still like occasionally.
I still play with toys till I was 16, but it looked weird. Like, Mom had me checked multiple times because I was playing with toys when you're 7, you can play with toys, right?
No, but the reason why I think 13 is the prime year though is because that's when your body's about to go through major changes.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do join sports, if you want to lift more, if you want to actually go into like combat sports, that's when you start to pick the choice of school.
Yeah.
No offense if you guys know me, but there's no way in fuck I would have went to that school if, knowing what I know now.
Yeah.
And I just think that's kind of like the important part. That's when you get ready for college. You take more serious classes, just shit like that you'd want to make sure you took over again.
Well, and I remember when I was young, I was like, I want to be a police officer. And my parents knew that I couldn't reach any higher heights. So they said, okay. But I think now, knowing me now, I might have been able to reach higher heights. And I think I would have gone for different stuff, like anything else. So you have that, right? I don't know. That I would definitely go back for sure, like in a heartbeat. If you could go back in one period of time, J Money, any period of time, obviously you can mess around as much. We're going to go off of the, relativity, right? So anything you do cannot affect the future. Nothing you can do can affect it. Will do it. If you kill Hitler, somebody else will take his spot, and World War II would still happen. Really quickly on that basis, I think a lot of people say they'd go back. Like if I was like, hey, if you could go back and change one thing about time, a lot of people would say Hitler. I think that'd be really easy until you had to shoot a baby in the face. I feel like that'd be really hard to do. I don't want to but it'd be hard to do. Let's ask that question first. So you answer it. If you could change one thing about history, what would it be?
If I could change one thing about history,
yeah. Well, and it has to be something you would actually be able to change. I'm not saying like a magic wand you can get rid of slavery. I'm not
something I myself could change.
Yes. Like you're going back, you get to put yourself wherever you want, and you could try to change something. What would you go back to try to change? That's the question.
I mean, even realistically, I don't think you'd even be able to, if you did want to kill Hitler, that makes me sound like a bad person. If you wanted to kill Hitler, good luck finding his house in Austria, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Or getting a ticket that goes transcontinental at that point in time. And wasn't that the 1800s? Were planes even around then?
I have no idea. Yeah, they were. Because I would say yeah.
In the 1890s?
I don't know. Exactly. Dude, I'm not that smart.
That's my point.
Come on.
And that's my point. There's no way in fuck people would know how to go back there if you were just the basic average human.
Yeah.
Realistically, I don't know what I'd be able to change, though.
That's true. Okay, now let's say magic wand. You can change one thing. What would you
Magic wand.
change?
What would I be able to change?
Yeah, you get a magic wand. You can change anything in history. What would you change? But think of all the ramifications of that. Just be aware of that.
I would. This is a tough one, but you probably haven't heard it. And this is probably being able to expose all the geneticists who magically kill themselves. Like we actually be able to prove who did that and who is behind it. You know what I mean? Because apparently, the cure for AIDS and cancer and all this shit was found out like 30, 40 years ago, but being, held back.
Okay. That's a good one. I would obviously you want to do like the right thing for America and be like, hey, let's just like make sure slavery doesn't happen. That's a good one.
But that happens regardless.
Well, and also I will, I don't know. So there's that. Obviously, again, I don't know if I want to go like as far because I mean there's a lot of travesties in all of the world. And I mean the Boston Tea Party, that was a lot of tea. I don't know. I don't know. I can't decide on that one. Okay, so now let's go back. Let's do if you could go in one period of time and witness like one thing. Like you witness Gandhi, you could witness Jesus, you could witness anything in the past, and you get to be around for one certain thing. What would you be around for?
So like an event?
Yeah, you're going to be around for an event.
Because an event makes it a little harder. If you gave me a week, like a week vacation to
visit let's do it.
A week vacation to visit any period, 1920s.
1920s. Randomly, you don't care when, just 1920s.
I want to go party in downtown New York in the 1920s. Speakeasies. People were building the skyscrapers with no sorts of protection. They're just ballsy out there. All you are is doing is partying, the roaring 20s, the whole thing. Single day, though, I mean, I feel like I'd be a bad Christian not to go to Jesus. Once you mentioned Jesus, I'm like, well, I can't really do anything else.
But hold on. The only thing is that is kind of so. Here's the thing. Here's my counter argument because as a Christian, I would want to be like, hey, I'd go to Jesus' time, and when they're like, kill Jesus, I'd be like, come on, guys, we should all think about this. Hey, like I would try to like turn the tide. It wouldn't happen because obviously that's supposed to happen. Blah 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 blah.
You could watch it though.
Yeah. Do you want to watch
Jesus die? Yeah.
No. Oh, that'd be terrible. You'd feel so bad. And you were there and you didn't do anything.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like, would you want to go watch your favorite sports team lose?
No, that would be a good one, though, to watch the 1972 Dolphins win the Super Bowl. That would be a good event.
You're thinking too small.
No, if I could go back to one event and like just watch an event, I'd see if OJ really did it.
Yes. Problem solved. Next question.
Yep. I think that's what everybody, out of all the like mysteries in the universe, that's the one we all really want to know. Did OJ do it? And OJ really didn't do it. Great movie.
The chicken.
If you could go into the future now, if you could go into the future, how far would you go? Mama Box says, spoiler alert, he did. I don't know. He was proven innocent by a group of his peers. So I don't know about that.
You must have quit.
Yeah. So if you could go into the future, how far would you go? If you could, obviously, let's say you do. Okay, no, first of all, would you go into the future if you could?
I mean, realistically, I don't think I really care about the future.
Yeah, that's
so the difference between 10 years and 1,000 aren't that big of a difference to me.
Yeah.
Because think, everyone you love has already died. You already know there's going to be advances. So you kind of want to go deep into the future, but you don't want to go and see if it's, Mad Max Nightmare.
Yeah, that's true.
So it really doesn't matter too much to me in the future.
All right, but let's say you were going to go into the future. You could go 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 500 years. How far would you go if you had to?
I just answered that. I don't think it would really.
It wouldn't
I don't
matter.
think I'd really care.
Like, roll the dice. Let's do this.
I would think at least an extended amount of time though. I don't think 30 years is going to be that big of a difference. I mean, everyone, like I said, everyone still love would probably be alive, which would be cool. But going 500 to just see the technological advances, I think would be the most interesting part.
Being around for 30 years, I've gone from the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis to the PS5. So I wouldn't mind going 30 years into the future just to play the next Elder Scrolls when it finally comes out. Because if this is like anything, everybody needs to get on Elder Scrolls to make a goddamn game. Anyway, so there's that. I don't know. That's a. I'm just asking all these questions I don't even know the answers to. I should have thought about answers before I asked all these questions. Yeah, I think that I think I would, if I was had to, I'd probably just want to go 500 years in the future and hope that it's not like Idiocracy, the movie where like everybody's super stupid.
We're definitely. I feel like we're headed there, but
We really
I feel like
are.
I see. Here's the thing. I think we've always just been this dumb. Just the internet exposes it now.
Yeah, that's true too. Because they always talk about that with like a lot of things. You know, they're like, I didn't know so many people got killed every year, and you're like, oh, well, people did get killed. This we just like bring it to the forefront now.
Well,
you know
and,
what I mean? Like,
and if, for example, if you look at those numbers, you know, crime rates technically going down since the 20s or last 20 or 30 years.
yeah. So Box Mom asks a pretty good question. This actually is a big fish question that I'll ask you. I was going to talk about one when we talk about death, and maybe I'll ask it again. I would like to know when I die. It'd be nice to know if I was wasting time watching that last movie.
You can't do it. It's paradox.
So
because,
okay.
Because if you know you're dying 30 years into the future, you could go play in traffic right now, knowing damn well you will never die.
Yeah, but let's say, but if you went back to the, I mean, really, there's not a whole lot you could. Okay, so paradox. I know it's a paradox, but if you could look into a witch's eye and see how you die, would you?
No,
you wouldn't.
Nope, I would, because then I'd live in fear. Let's just say it's something vague like car crash.
No. You see exactly how you die. You'll see how old you are. So, have you ever seen the movie Big Fish?
Yes.
So, Big Fish, he looks into a witch's eye. Now, obviously, you don't know if it's actually true or not. That's the whole point of the movie. It's actually a great movie, but in it, he says the reason he did it was because he knows he could survive everything else, and it like made him live more, right? Which I think is kind of cool. If you could find out when you die, you still wouldn't do it, even on that basis.
No,
I would. I agree with Box Mom here. I would like to know how I die, because then you can, like in the movie it says, then I would know I could survive everything else, which I think is awesome. Like I'd go skydiving. I don't know. I don't even know what else I would do.
But maybe there's no real reason for making you live that way in the first place. And I think that's the whole point is this is going to be the whole reason like I don't actually like go see a therapist, even though I probably need to, is because it's just funner to live life not knowing the ending. You know what I mean? Because if you know, like, it's kind of like playing a game with cheat codes is how I see it. You don't want to know how shit's going to go. If shit's going to go south, I would rather just play the game and just see how it goes. That's how I personally feel. So I wouldn't want to know how I died, where I died. I would just want to live and, find out in real time.
You're a better person. I love playing with cheat codes. Every time I play a game, I first Google is there cheat codes. Are you shitting me? That's the reason why and this is a kind of a difference in like anime, and the reason why I think maybe we are different with this type of, maybe this is why we think differently about this anime thing. He doesn't like isekai anime stuff. I love that type of stuff. And the reason I love that type of stuff is Patrick Wilson, winners cheat. You're goddamn right they do.
If they're not good enough.
Good to see you again, Patrick. Hi. So I agree. I like to win. I like to cheat. I like to win. That's how I do things. So now I'm all excited that Patrick's here. So Isekai, like you get sucked into a thing, and usually in every isekai, there's very few where they're not the like most overpowered character with some type of cheat code, right?
Except for Subaru. Subaru is just a useless piece of
No,
shit.
Subaru gets one where he gets to restart. Don't get me wrong, that would mess you up. So what we're talking about, there's an anime called ReZero, where every time he dies in this new world, he comes back at like a save point. So he feels all the pain and PTSD of getting killed and murdered, but he eventually finds out stuff. Like obviously, then he knows that they're going to attack this way, and he like gets better. That's the best cheat code. If I knew I could survive literally everything, that's the best cheat code.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
And to just explain to the people who don't watch anime, isekai is a type of anime where you get sucked into another world, essentially.
Yeah.
So usually it's a video game world. But no, that's not fair to be able to be. I don't know. He's pretty useless.
Cheat. You need to cheat. So anyway, so that's something that I like. I think I would look into the witch's eye to find out how I die. That's just me. So yeah. Okay. So if you could go back to witness any time other than the Christian, let's say you can't go back and see Jesus and OJ, let's say I go back first and I'm like, dude, OJ didn't do it. Where else would you go?
Well, if you came back and told me OJ didn't do it, I would die of shock. So you guys kind of believe that for a second. If there was another thing I could go back and see, is what you're asking?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything like significant enough that I'm like, I wish I saw that live.
Really?
If anything, it would be like sports events.
All right, name a sports event you'd go to.
Barry Bond breaking the record for the home run record.
Wasn't that like 20 years ago?
No, I was alive when that happened.
Yeah, exactly. So you would go back to a time you were alive?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
I don't know.
I mean, like, what realistically, what would be more interesting?
The 1972 Dolphins? The first
JFK shooting himself in the back of the head?
That yeah, you could totally go back in time and okay, if you could prevent one, that would be an easy one to prevent. You could prevent that.
I'd just watch it.
That's something you could prevent, though.
Probably.
So when we're talking about things that you could prevent, that's one that actually legitimately you probably could. Same with the Titanic.
Hey, guys, there's icebergs out there.
Yeah, hey.
Don't hit them.
Hey, just so you know, there's an iceberg here. Dodge it. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge an iceberg. So yeah, there's that. I think that those are two.
Quick, this is gonna make me sound like a horrible person, but why would I change any of these things?
Because I don't know.
There's no real reason to change like that. That's what makes it interesting, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you'd save 114 people's lives.
Yeah, but you know what you'd more save? You know what else you'd save? A lot of people from watching that garbage movie.
You get to see Kate Winslet's tits, though.
Touche. So, but if we're talking about the theme of relativity, oh no, I guess then that also means that Titanic would sink.
So yeah, so
I was going to say that you would also still get to see her boobs in a different movie. Huh?
So yeah, so the baseline question is what would you like to spectate?
Yeah, okay, yeah. What would you like to spectate? Barry Bonds, that's it?
I mean, what?
A 30-second thing?
What's the craziest thing? Okay, yeah. I would like to see if Hitler really killed himself, because I don't think he did.
Oh, he didn't. So you watch my conspiracy. He 100% did not kill himself.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
But I would like the confirmation.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. If you could go back and look at a civilization building itself,
sure,
would you go back and see the Romans, the Egyptians, the Mayans, or another cool one?
If I could go back. Okay, so here's my thing with each one. The Egyptians, I'm 90% sure was just made with slavery. So I don't think I'd find Jewish people carrying big blocks for 20 hours a day. Believe it or not. Ari Shafir. with the Romans, I feel like they were a lot larger on the curve. So
Mhm.
they already knew what the hell was going on. So I don't think it'd be as interesting. While the Mayans, they were still doing like human sacrifices and shit.
Yeah.
And they built pyramids. And it was in like the middle of huge mountains. I think that would probably be the most interesting.
So Patrick brings up a good point. Dinosaurs, man. You can go see dinosaurs and you're going to be busy watching baseball. We're Christians. We don't believe that dinosaurs are a thing, that they were just put there by. No, that's not.
You're
that's
telling
actually
me Moses didn't part the Red Sea flying on the wings of a pterodactyl. I want to point that out right now.
No, dinosaurs would be a great one, actually. I can't believe we didn't think of that. Thanks, Patrick.
No, I just want to know, though. I just want to know, has a T-Rex ever taken at 450 dead center?
Not with those arms. So. You know, goddamn well with those arms. He didn't. He didn't do that. No, yes, Barry Bonds did hit. Okay. Dinosaurs would be a great one. It would be cool. Because a lot of times, obviously, like, we don't know actually what they look like. Were they scaly? Were they feathers? I don't know. It would be kind of cool to actually see what they look like. You don't think it'd be cool?
Who gives a shit?
It would be cool.
Die instantly.
But you'd
probably catch something and die instantly.
Yeah, but you'd be one of the only people to ever see that. Ever. And you could be the only person. You would be the only person to ever see that ever.
Be like, yeah. Okay, actually, here's something cool to think about. I don't think I would pick it, but it would be cool to go back to like the Neanderthals, because the Neanderthals aren't directly related to us. So it would be cool to be able to live with a different species at the same time.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something else. You're like, you could technically mate with them. No.
You could?
That would be a pretty cool one. Well, so here's the thing. And I don't know how true this is. This might be one of those like Mandela effects that everybody believes but isn't really true. Were people super short back in the day? Like, how short were they? Because then when you watch like Deadliest Warrior, they're like, oh, the samurai were anywhere between 5'7" and 5'9". But when we were in Japan, most people were between 5'7" and 5'9". You know what I mean?
Samurai was like 1,000 years ago. When you're thinking about evolution, we're talking tens of thousands. That's why it's such a big difference.
Well, yeah, but then like a lot of people make a joke that like Jesus would be quite shorter and all this other stuff. Like, how short were the Neanderthals? Because if I could be a king,
actually taller. So the whole thing about is why they didn't survive and we did, is because Neanderthals were the big fuckers that were like way more what we now know as like athletic. They were better hunters and shit like that. They just didn't have the same brain as us. So that's kind of like why we pushed them out, is because we knew how to, because at the end of the day, it's brains over brawn. So they were bigger.
You need to watch Dr. Stone. That's like what it's all about, bro. Just watch it. Dinosaurs is a good one, though. I still think Dinosaurs is probably one of the best. To like witness something, I think would be super cool. Because Jurassic Park, I think, is a blast to watch. And you kind of say, oh, like this is how they would kind of live. It'd be kind of cool. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, they'd murder the shit out of people.
Yeah. Well, not obviously. Yeah. No, it would be hard to survive for sure.
But yeah, I guess if you're spectating, I don't know.
Yeah, if you're just spectating, you know what I mean? But if I'm invincible, then other times would be kind of cool too. I'd love to see the 300, right? The like 300 Spartans in the fountain.
You know it's not as cool as you think.
Nah,
that's the worst part. Is they probably did kill like 1,000 people, but that's only like 3.5 people per person.
Yeah, well, and actually, well, no, because there was also 1,000 Athenians. A lot of people don't realize this. It was 300 just Spartans, but there was 1,000 Athenians with them. It was 1,300 people.
Yeah, but Zack Snyder, that they didn't help really. So
well, also they had leather underwear in Zack Snyder's movie, and I'm not 100% positive about this, but I'm pretty sure they had armor. I'm pretty sure it wasn't just their helmets.
You're telling me that they didn't just have like 6-packs just spray painted onto them?
Well, that might be true. They might have been crazy ripped. It was back in the day. You know what I mean? That would be another cool thing too, is like the marathon. It would be kind of cool to watch that guy, like, because I wouldn't want to run with him, but if I could just like sit in the clouds and watch this guy run a marathon, that'd be kind of cool to see the first marathon ever ran. I think that'd be awesome. History is so cool. I would love to watch any part of it if I'm being 100% honest.
See, and why I would pick again like baseball or something is because like what's relevant to you? What would be something that you would want to see that no one else has? Because bragging rights isn't really a thing. I
but
saw dinosaurs. You're like, oh, that's cool. We should put you in a home.
Yeah, but that doesn't even just like interest you. Just having the knowledge of that,
Yeah, it would be
like
cool.
knowing if they were feathered or scaled, that would mean nothing to you.
Probably not. I mean, just realistically, in like 5 years, I would be like, oh, that's cool. But if I got to be like, oh, I got to saw the night that Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points, which I don't believe he did, but it'd be cool to find out.
Yeah, well, but that would just I think that to me, if you would be like, oh, I was there, they'd be like, let's put you in a home. You were born in '95. You're getting put into a home. You know what I mean? I feel like either way, your ass would get put into a home. That kind of brings up a good point. Again, we'll go over this one, death stuff, but that's the reason why I think with life, you should do as much as you can to like at the end of your life, when you're a grandpa or grandma and you're talking with your grandkids and they're like, oh, what did you do with your life? I think you should do a bunch of stuff in your life that you can tell them what you did, right? Like, not just like
a bunch of hookers.
Like, yeah, exactly. Not just like hookers and blow. I did a lot of, well, and that's still pretty good stories. But you get a lot of people who are like, oh, I like did a cruise once. And you're like, go out and like save up, live life, go do certain cool things. I've always wanted to.
Eating cat in Japan.
Yeah, exactly. So I see, I'm like slow. I like to check boxes, right? Like I like to be able to say I did certain things. I do it in my job. I do it in life. Like I like to do things just to say that I did them. Like I want to go cage diving with sharks, right? That's a huge one. I have a running of the bulls thing that I have coming up that I'm saving for, that I want to do that. Speaking of which, I mean, you're slimming down like, damn, that you should totally do that with me. That would be hilarious.
What?
Run with the bulls.
That sounds terrifying.
Dude, we only have to run 40 feet and then we can get up on a thing. As long as we can say we did it. Okay. Right? But I would love to be like at the end of my life, be like, oh, what did you do? And be able to tell people like, hey, I went and trained with Shaolin monks. Me and Uncle Jake went to the suicide forest. We ate cat in Japan. I went running with the bulls and I punched a whale in the face. Like, I think you should be able to say you did a lot of cool things. And I think if you can do that, then I think that's what makes life, right? Like, you should go out and do all these crazy things. So that way, I don't know. Would you, this is actually a good question. Would you want to go see anything that your grandparents did?
I never got to talk to my grandparents like you did.
Yeah, I did get to talk to them more. I didn't get to talk to my grandpa a whole lot. Would you ever like want to go see things that you kind of call are bullshit? You know how like dad always tells us, and the whole like a road up hills both ways. My dad literally has a story like that where he also rode with a bicycle that only had one pedal. He does. He always tells the same goddamn story, and every time he goes to his hometown,
to call him out.
Yeah, like wouldn't you want to go back? Like I would love to go back. Our grandpa thought our grandma murdered somebody. He's like dead set. He was dead set on it. I would like to see if she actually killed somebody.
Which grandpa? Dad's
Bobby.
Yeah, she 100% killed somebody.
She seems like she would kill somebody.
Doubt in my mind that she wouldn't be capable of that.
No, she would definitely be capable of it. But I would like to see if she actually did it. That would be kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool to see Grandpa on our mom's side, see how he was in the Air Force. You know what I mean? Like,
we had honestly, an aunt until like 5 years ago.
Huh?
So we didn't know we had an aunt until like 5 years ago. You don't think she killed somebody? Yeah,
no, she 100% did. So really quickly, you know how a lot of people have those like genealogy stories? We actually have a pretty good one, I think. So my mom was doing genealogy on my dad's side because my grandma had just recently passed. My dad's mom just recently passed. So she goes to this genealogy site. She starts really digging deep. My mom should have been a detective. My mom was digging super deep. And she found out that my grandma, my dad's mom, had a family before my dad's family that nobody ever knew about. So my dad had a half sister and a half brother from another father that nobody ever knew about, like until she died. Like we didn't even get a questioner on this. She had a whole other family, and it was super awesome. So yeah, so we found out we have an aunt that lives in Arizona. Unfortunately, our step uncle, half uncle, passed away. But he was in the military and stuff like that. It was such a cool story to know that we had this, like, I don't know. I thought it was a super cool genealogy story that we have that nobody else gets to. I think that's awesome. And I don't want to brag, but they're half black, and that's pretty cool.
We almost get to say the N-word. Almost. Don't worry,
that.
We don't anymore.
No, she let us. I never say it into a mic anymore. Daniel Tosh joke. That's not mine. Don't at me. But it's kind of cool though. I mean, we get to know that stuff. That's awesome. It would be cool to see like what her thinking is with that. I think history is.
When's the last time you saw her?
I've never seen her.
Oh, right.
Well, in my defense, they tend to my dad and my brother they are very whimsical. They do not realize what it's like to be have a family and like have to plan things around things. They just randomly go, "Hey, we're going this weekend. Do you want to go?" That's how you guys do everything. Yeah. Like, did you know you were going to Canada a week ago?
No, actually.
Exactly. And you're going to Canada now with you're a very whimsical person, which I think is cool, but that's not how Daddy works. Daddy needs plans. And now when we're drinking, that's a different story. We can go from karaoke to blow very quickly. And cocaine. You can go from all three of those very quickly in a drinking night. However, going to like out of you can't like have a kid. I can't do that type of shit. Anyway, we're getting off the subject as far as like history is involved. So you would go back, you wouldn't kill Hitler, and if you were going to kill Hitler, what age would you kill him? Let's say you got it like a free pass. And this is really me asking you, if you had to kill somebody, what age would you try to kill him?
Probably roundhouse to the mom's stomach.
Okay, never mind. I thought that was going to go into a lot lighter of a conversation of like way older. That did not. Anywho, old Japan would also be cool to visit, by the way.
It would be, but that's just crazy. People are walking around with like swords and shit. Like, I don't know if I want to deal with that.
Yeah, but Musashi, like watch it. Like, I don't know. I think like watching a legit samurai duel would be epic.
You can
as they like grow to draw their dude. That'd be legit. You don't think that'd be cool?
Yeah, that'd be. I don't know. That'd just be so crazy though. Because thinking about but that was about 1300s. That's the Edo period. That's medieval times in Europe. So you got to think, people were dying, like literally a third of Europe died because of rats.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I would just fucking with the past is a very crazy thing.
Yeah.
I think
but you could have gone back and given them masks and then they would have been fine.
Yeah, because totally effective.
No,
our stream's already down? What?
How did Twitter already take it down? Anyway, it was just a joke, people. Come on.
Masks aren't real.
So yeah, I think watching that would be super cool. Watching the 300 would be pretty cool. Anyway, we diverged too much. Anyway, diverged. I don't care. I don't know words. Okay, I'm not smart. Anyway, so thanks again, special guest Jay Money, for coming on the podcast and talking about history stuff. You're looking fly, bro. You got the good head of hair. I don't know who your dad is, and you're slimming down like crazy, dude. It looks great. So
I know who is my dad, because I don't know if you noticed, but I have a cleft chin.
You do have a cleft chin. I do not.
No one else in the family does.
I know. I think you have a different dad.
Brother-
Also, you're like 6'3", 6'4", and you have a butt, right?
a
Like,
little bit.
I don't know who J Money looking like a snack. You goddamn right he is.
Come get you a bite.
You know I will. So can't keep it in the pants, keep it in the family. That's what my dad and your stepdad
Uncle
always
told
said.
me.
Uncle told you. So anyway, guys, again, thanks J Money for coming on. You're looking great. And thank you guys all for watching, and I love you, and have a good one.